And it is a beautiful evening. It's high school baseball tonight on QCTV. We're in the Northwest Suburban Conference, a conference game between the Champlin Park Rebels. They are hosting the defending Class 3A champions from a year ago, the Totino-Grace Eagles. Eagles off to a nice start at 5-1, and Champlin Park 3-2 in their first 5 games here in the 2025 season. From Champlin Park High School, along with Joe Ruland, I'm Jim Erickson. Another breezy night tonight. We've had a couple of breezy days here this week, but breezy, but still nice early on. It's still April. We're still mid-April, so it's kind of a grab bag, Joe, as far as what kind of weather we can get. And two teams that have gotten off to a decent start. Totino-Grace just suffered their first loss last night against Rogers.
They did, and that's how Champlin Park started their season, with a shutout win over Rogers. So as all teams across the Northwest Suburban Conference try to shake off a little bit of this spring cold, you kind of start to find out the identity of these teams probably about that 10th game of the season, once you get a chance to really operate in that type of nice warmer weather. But again, it is the Eagles. They picked up the state championship last year in Class 3A. They also defeated Andover earlier this season, giving the Huskies their only loss of the season. So they come ready to play. A lot of senior-loaded team here for the Eagles, and it'll be exciting to see them get after it here this afternoon. The wind, if you're wondering and you're at home, it looks sunny. It is. I love seeing the sun, but that is a fierce wind blowing in from left field. So that should affect anything moving out in that direction, and see if it affects any of the pitching as well.
Totino-Grace opening their season with wins over Anoka, Armstrong, Andover, STA, non-conference, Coon Rapids, and a 5-4 loss. Rogers, a walk-off win last night. Champlin Park, a win over Rogers. They dropped a game to Blaine, then wins over Minneapolis Southwest, Spring Lake Park, and then the loss yesterday, 6-3 to Andover. Here is tonight's national anthem. Well, Champlin Park has won the last 2 meetings against Totino-Grace. Last year, it was a 5-0 victory at Totino-Grace High School on April 18th. In the 2023 season, a 4-0 win for Champlin Park against Totino-Grace. They played 3 times in the 2022 season. In fact, they played twice in the sections. It was just 2 years ago, Joe, these teams were in the same sections. That's when Totino-Grace was in 4A, and they have since now, of course, slipped down to 3A here in 2024, 2025. Of course, last year able to go all the way and win that 2024 championship against a Matamidi team that was in the state championship game for their 5th of the last 9 years. And TG was able to get that victory by a 2-1 score. As we take a look at those Totino-Grace Eagle starters here in their batting order for head coach Mike Smith. 17th season for Mike, 216 career wins. And as you might expect, Joe, named the 3A State Coach of the Year after winning the championship.
Very nice here. You see Westfall leading off, followed by Rance, Blake, that is. Heifert pitched in that state championship win last spring for the championship title, followed by Tyler Hand, who will also be playing short. Then Joey Terhar batting 6th. And there's Jack Goldsberry, the pitcher, batting 7th. And Keene and Franzik round out that hitting lineup tonight here for the Eagles.
And they'll face Evan Nordby. Last night's game for Champlin Park against Andover. Donnie Vendel pitched 4 third innings. Pitched pretty well, according to Coach Ryan Thome. You saw him.
Yeah, I did.
So that was a low-scoring game really until late in the game yesterday at Andover.
Yeah, it took the 4th inning. That's when the Huskies put up a crooked number. There you get the layout. George in the outfield. Greer. Vendel, who was on the mound, is in the right field.
All right, here's the first pitch to Westfall. High fly ball to the right side. And Vendel, the pitcher yesterday, is out in right field tonight. And Westfall, who's batting .333 on the season with an RBI, is out on a pitch, 1 down here in the top of the first, and this game is underway.
Hey, that was a one-and-done pitch. So you talk about it. Here's Jake Rance on the mound. Nordby started in that's a loss to Blaine, but threw well throughout that game.
First pitch to Rance. 1 for 19 on the season and will take a strike. Rance, and then it's Blake. Rance at second, the senior. And Blake, the shortstop in the on-deck circle, as the pitch is low, evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Both of these teams played in the American Legion State Tournament last year. They're Legion teams on the outside corner. And for Totino-Grace, that's Fridley Gold. And, of course, for Champlin Park, just simply Champlin. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 down. Here's the Norby pitch. Called strike 3. Got him looking, 2 down.
Right off the edge of the plate. Dots the edge for the punch out and the first strikeout of the game. And it goes to Rance.
So that'll bring up Colin Blake. 5 for 10, hitting .500. 4 runs batted in here for the 5-1 Eagles. First pitch is a ball, 1-0. Heiford would bat next. In fact, they've got 2 pitchers back. Both of their pitchers that pitched in the state tournament a year ago are back. Here's a grounder. Carlson juggles it at short, still able to get the out over at first. And a nice start here for Evan Norby and the Champlin Park Rebels as they set the Totino-Grace Eagles down in order. 1, 2, 3, 3 up, 3 down in the top half of the first. No score with Champlin Park coming up.
Well, I'll tell you, if you're in that field for the Rebels, and you saw that through Carlson, it's kind of nice to get that first ground ball at you and out of the way in the first inning. It's different taking infield. But when it comes game time, it's about footwork, glove placement, and bringing something in that flow to that fielding, releasing that throw across that time. The diamond just in time to get the number 3 hitter for the Eagles. So we'll get a look here in that setup here and on the mound. You mentioned the Eagles have a couple of very good pitchers that have returned from that state championship team. One is Heiford.
Yeah, Heiford pitched in the quarterfinals and the championship game. Just 1 earned run, scattered 4 hits, struck out 8 against Matamidi, and then Jake Rance was their winning pitcher in the semis. Got a 3-hit shutout against Benilde St. Margaret. So they've got a ton of guys left. They got 6, 7, 8 returners off of last year's team, starters and regulars that played. You take a look at the batting order for Champlin Park. And head coach Ryan Thome, it is in his 5th season. And of course, the Rebels are almost a decade removed from that trip that they made to the state tournament, played at Target Field, and lost in the state championship game. And they're going to face Jack Goldsberry, this lineup here for Champlin Park. Goldsberry, 8 innings pitched. He's 2-0. He's won both of his games. Just 1 run. That run was unearned, so he has a 0.00 ERA, 9 strikeouts and 1 walk. And there is the fielding lineup for the Eagles out in the field here this evening.
Left field, Francis. Center field, the quarterback out there, Westfall, followed by Terhar, and right, Heiford. Also the pitcher playing first. Rance at second. Up the middle with Blake and Keene. And the catcher will be Hand. Tyler Hand, and on towing the rubber, you mentioned Jim, is Goldsberry.
Jack Goldsberry ready to work here as Reese George steps to the plate. Goldsberry, a junior. Tyler Hand is his battery mate. George coming in hitting .176. And the bases are empty. The scoreboard 0-0, bottom half of the first. Here for George, then Sandell, then Carlson. Goldsberry's first delivery, and it's outside. Ball 1, tried that sweeper and missed.
He did, and you know what? That wind is going to help blow it out a little farther if you're throwing that sweeper. in that left field piece. You can tell that footwork he's keeping.
1-0 comes across this time on the inner half. 1 ball and 1 strike.
He's going from the stretch, and you watch that front foot he has down just in front of the rubber, and it allows him to cross over and keep that front shoulder tucked in.
1-1 pitch. Bounce to third. Backhand stab by Keene. He's up with it. The throw is going to be high. And good enough of a backup job there by the catcher, Tyler Hand, that George will not be able to advance. That's going to be an infield hit. That's a wonderful grab down the line with the backhand dive by Keene, but we'll give George a hit, and he's on.
Yeah, I didn't think he was going to get him if he got his feet together in place, but the throw, it went air freight way over the top of Whiteford at first, and he did not advance. But you're right, Jim, that's an infield hit. And the way for the Rebels to jump out early here. Let's see how active they are on the base path.
Brockton Sandell, 250 hitter. Goldsberry, as we mentioned, works from the set at all times. Delivers to the Champlin Park second baseman. Pops straight up. Catcher Hand. Now that wind pushing it. He bobbles it and he makes the catch. He's got it. Just shy of the backstop. Had to deal with that wind and obviously the backspin on the ball. At first, that was straight up the chute, right up the elevator shaft. But good recovery there by Hand.
That is a fantastic play. That's the most difficult play for a catcher. First, finding that ball. And as you mentioned, Jim, you're usually waiting for that ball to spin back, kind of banana back towards you. But today, that wind is so strong, it just kept blowing it out. That's an excellent play for the catcher Hand.
So 1 down. George still over at first. Nick Carlson in the number 3 spot. 438 hitter. George goes. Stolen base. Snuck past Hand. Ball 1 here to Carlson, and a runner in scoring position here for Champlin Park.
Yeah, that pitch did he call that a strike or not?
I don't know. I'm going to assume it was a ball. I thought it was in the dirt, but
got it.
1 ball, no strikes.
Well, they're off and running early here for George. It took them a while yesterday with that wind.
Totino-Grace was saying their game against Rogers, a fly ball to right center. Terhar on the run. Now he gets turned around, makes the catch. Tagging at second, George. Throw is cut off, and here it comes, and George is safe.
That was not a bad throw from right field by Terhar. A one-hopper that got just a little bit late all the way to third, but had some good juice on that throw versus this wind.
Rogers, in that game against Totino-Grace, walked him off in the bottom of the 7th inning, but Totino-Grace head coach Mike Smith was telling me it was just kind of a weird game. They kind of generated their early runs with walks and stolen bases and errors. There were 3 unearned runs. Actually, Champlin Park, they had 4 unearned runs yesterday, didn't they? Here's a pitch that's inside. Kellen Oligmuller, the senior first baseman, 1 ball and 1 strike. A chance to get Champlin Park on the board here.
Yeah, the Huskies jumped up 6-0, and then in the 7th is when you saw some of the damage done there for the Rebels.
1-1 pitch hits the outside corner. Little backdoor there from Goldsberry. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. George is on at third, 90 feet away, but 2 down. Hit well down the line, foul. Just wide of the chalk line beyond first. And it stays 1-2.
He barreled up and had a good swing on that pitch. Was looking for it. And see if he wanted to come down a little lower. Maybe on that backdoor breaking ball pitch here. And keep that thing low. You don't want to have that up around the belt.
So it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. On the end of the bat, little liner. It's going to have some spin. Grabbed by Blake. It'll be close at first. Got him! Holy cow, what a play by Blake. And then the dig with a backhand by Heifert. And they call Oligmuller out. And that is all for the thread here for Champlin Park in the bottom of the first inning. What a play by the shortstop. There's Blake. He's got it on the run. Throw to first. Let's see how close.
So tight, but hey, a bookend of flashing the leather, both by the short and at first. Great job, and a good strong throw to get him.
All right, no score for Champlin Park. A hit. They leave 1 on. We played 1. No score here from Champlin.
Hi, Hi, my name is Rachel Bonesock. I am the co-founder and executive director of Northern Starz Center for the Performing Arts. We are a performing arts center that brings you theater, dance, and music year-round with all ages and all abilities. If you are 4 to 104, we welcome you. We are a big family at Northern Starz, and we love to have everybody in the community support and be a part of what we have available for everyone. We are always looking for volunteers. We run on volunteer support at Northern Starz. So if you're interested in volunteering for anything, any of our events that are upcoming, we do theater, dance, and music. And we have a large event center that we hire artists, professional artists to come in and entertain the community as well as our theater. We would love to have you join us. You can email me at Rachel@NorthernStarz with a Z, Rachel@northernstars.org, or you can give us a call at 612-326-6158. Check out our website. We have a lot going on, northernstars.org. Thank you.
For Totino-Grace, top of the second, Heifert, Hand, and Cagnetta. As that'll be 4, 5, and 6. Heifert in the number 4 spot. 5 hits and 10 at-bats here early in the season, hitting right at 500. And Norby has an even count here to him. It's 1 ball and 1 strike.
There's that back foot breaking pitch. He swung over the top of that. Got to keep that low on a day like this. And plus, you're going to get some collateral movement on that ball anyway inside.
Out beyond right field, we have lacrosse here tonight. Out on the football field, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Bouncer towards second. Sandell has to charge, snares it, and plays it over to first. 1 up, 1 down. That's 4 up, 4 down here so far to start the game for Evan Nordby.
Yep, and here we go with Hand, a chance to get things going.
Hand doing the catching today, .313 average. Has the lone home run for Totino here this season, 5 of 16, and 5 runs batted in, leads the team in that department. Bases are empty with 1 out, and he'll take that pitch across the strike, outer half at the knees. Strike 1 here to Tyler Hand.
Outfield pretty much straight away, a little drift.
Fouled back to the right side, nothing in 2.
A step or 2 in center field, just a bit on the second base side there, a couple of strides. Especially if you've got that sweeper pitch coming for the Rebels.
Hand, the senior catcher, fouled back. It is still 0-2. Good bunch of seniors. Top 5 batters in the Totino-Grace order are all seniors. No balls and 2 strikes. Just missed. 1-2.
Good looking pitch, came inside that one and tried to keep it inside to lock him up.
Lined into right field for a hit. Sandell, that one was slicing away from him. And Tyler Hand has the first hit of the game for Totino-Grace. It's a 1-out base runner for DeMarco Cagnetta.
Well, that's what transpires when you don't lock them up inside, leave the plate or leave the ball on the outside part of the plate up around the belt. That pitch before, you could see he did a good job. He couldn't get his hands around for that swing. That time he did, base knock.
Cagnetta, .222 average, 4 hits on the season, 4 runs batted in. Get that home plate cleaned up here.
Met with the officials out in the parking lot before the game, and I'll expand on that here in just a moment.
Cagnetta takes low, ball 1.
The behind-the-plate umpire from last game is now out in the field.
So same crew as yesterday up at Andover.
No, I'm sorry. With the Minneapolis
Southwest.
the
game from last week, Wednesday, yeah. You were just here a week ago. Exciting game, 7-6. Champlin Park had to hold on with a Minneapolis Southwest Laker rally.
Yeah, the official in the field said, hey, so which one of you guys had to get up at 4:30 in the morning?
Mm-hmm. It's actually 4:15.
4:15.
2-0 pitch, number off the end of the bat. That's foul.
He said, I got home, listened to the game, and he said he had to get there. He was glad
I was happy with his big strike zone.
Yeah,
he had
he said
a
he heard
nice
that.
big strike zone, and when you got to get up early the next morning, that's ideal.
That it is. So
that's what I thought. Maybe you're talking in the parking lot. Maybe get me home early. Here's a bouncer to second. Sandell will have one play. That'll be to first to get the second out. Hand advances.
And that's a whole new campaign that I was discussing with the umpires in the pocket. Or in the parking lot. It's a get Jim home early campaign.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is a good campaign. It's more of a platform, really, than anything.
So 2 down here, runner at second.
Should mention that Shea Jackson is running at second base, so he is the courtesy runner for Hand. So a courtesy runner at second. The batter is the pitcher, Goldsberry. Norby delivers. Bouncer on the third base side is foul. 0-1. Shea Jackson, the courtesy runner over at second, is a sophomore with a few sophomores on the varsity roster for Totino-Grace. So they are just rich in juniors and seniors. Jackson gets his lead. The pitch misses. 1 ball and 1 strike.
That was a good location on that pitch, outside part of the plate. I thought maybe it caught the edge. Apparently it did not.
1 ball, 1 strike. Norby, 2 looks to second. A third, no. He'll come to the plate. It's a strike. 1-2.
Comes back with that heater kind of right through it. That fastball cuts right through the wind and hits the spot.
So with 2 down, he's ahead of him. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Norby to the plate on the outside corner. Got him looking. Second strikeout of the game here for Evan Norby. And he'll strand a runner at second. For Totino-Grace, no runs, a hit, and 1 left on. 1.5, bottom of the second coming up. Eagles and Rebels scoreless.
Well, the behind the plate umpire this time opened up the fridge, grabbed a beverage, and shut the door on that punch out. Called third strike on Goldsberry as he'll head back to the mound for a second inning of work. As you see some play here all around Champlin Park High School, some collateral soccer out there right now.
Somebody brought a bocce ball set that was back behind the Totino-Grace dugout. I don't know if that's how the players play in between innings or before the game, or they toss the bocce balls around because they're a little heavier than a baseball. I thought it was an interesting choice, certainly.
Yeah, and also the Champlin Park Rebels girls softball team has joined us as well. They, of course, started the year the number 2 ranked team. They're still in the top 10, but certainly a team that will be fun to watch this year as well as their season evolves.
Pets are always welcome here.
And I see some chips there as well. Always up if a fan likes to bring some chips up. But we're set here for that.
Did you see what flavor those were, Joe?
I could not see.
No.
I thought they looked yellowish.
I don't know if there's a flavor I don't like.
May have been jaundice. But
the real hot ones, flaming hot, I can say no to. But as we go to the bottom of the second, a scoreless game here between Champlin Park and Totino-Grace. It'll be Caleb Greer, Max Janisch, and Donnie Vendel, who was the pitcher at Andover last night, finds himself in right field tonight. 5, 6, and 7 for Champlin Park. And Goldsberry's first pitch of the inning, and it's a called strike. 1 strike. Last time Totino-Grace beat Champlin Park was April 19th, 2022. That was a 4-1 Totino-Grace victory. The 1 strike check swing at the plate foul. No balls and 2 strikes. Greer hitting .250. Janisch on deck, 143. And Vendel still looking for his first hit. But then later that same season in 2022, Champlin Park defeated Totino-Grace twice in the section playoffs, fouled off to the right side, and it's still 0-2.
That wind continues to whistle, and we had to shut the windows in here. It was a bit of a cold flow coming through.
Game time temperature 59 degrees. 0-2 pitch, and he reached for it. Greer goes down. 1 out. First strikeout here of the game for Goldsberry, his 10th of the season. 1 down for Max Janisch for the Rebels. behind that fastball.
Couldn't catch up with it. A little bit behind on that swing, but they had it just up above the hip. A good pitch to swing at.
You can see the jersey of the pitcher, Goldsberry, flapping in the wind. Breaking pitch that stays high, ball one. Mentioned Giannis, a 143 average. Comes outside this time also. This one misses. 2-0.
Yeah, Vandal himself as a pitcher prefers that stretch. We saw him do that against Southwest, Minneapolis Southwest, and then I saw it yesterday again versus Andover. Just a comfort thing. I see more pitchers and more getting, that front foot up in front, and from a technique standpoint, it really allows you to stay solid technique-wise.
And a roller to the left side. Oh, that left side plays good defense, don't they? Keene scoops it up at third, and he throws out Giannis 2 down. I tell you what, Keene and Blake, outstanding left side of the infield fielders and defense here for Totino-Grace, 2 down.
Good hands, a soft mitt. And you see the run down, but, you can catch those ground balls when they're about knee-high. When you're trying to field around the ankles, you got to have a soft hands and a good glove, and you saw that at third for Totino for that second out as he tossed out Vendel.
And the batter at the plate now is Vendel. Looking for his first hit. I think you met Giannis.
Yes.
Vendel out in right field. If he gets on, Oakley would be due up. Sweeper across. And quickly here, Goldsberry, no balls and 2 strikes. Both pitchers working quickly, doing a nice job. Goldsberry shakes off a couple of signs here from Tyler Hand. Comes to the plate 0-2. Just missed. 1-2.
A fresh game starting just in the next field to us.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Almost stood up and took my hat off. That one is fouled off to the right side in the parking lot. It stays 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I thought maybe Jeff doing the PA sent like an indicator that he wanted to hear it again, or started it from across the way for the lacrosse game.
1-2 pitch. Fouled straight back off the screen. It stays 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 down, and nobody on.
Hey, that blue fence looks spectacular.
Yeah, it wasn't painted yet.
It's got that Yankee blue look to it. And with the green grass and a combination of some sun and rain since we were last here, it's getting into shape quickly.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 down. Goldsberry high. 2-2. Well, here in Brooklyn Park, the water's a little bit hard, so you can see the effects of that on all the chain link fences and on the light posts as well. So it needed a nice coat of weather beater paint. Rust-Oleum. Pitch is high. Now it's full. 3-2. He's at risk of losing Vendel here for the catcher Oakley, who waits on deck.
Yeah, very disciplined at bat here for Vendel.
Full count.
A sweeper here, perhaps.
3-2. In the air, hit well, left center field. Left fielder Franzek, though, is there, and he'll make the catch. Got under it just a bit, and Vendel retired. Ends up being a 1-2-3 inning. Goldsberry sets the Champlin Park Rebels down in order. He's retired 6 in a row. As we move on to the bottom of the second inning, 1.5, no score.
Hi, I'm Tom Goodrich, founder of Fishing for Life. Looking for a meaningful way to engage your employees? Our REI program offers corporations the chance to make a difference while fostering teamwork and connection. We're mobile, so we come to you and we bring everything you need. Together, your team will rebuild thousands of rods and reels, giving them a second life. These aren't just fishing rods, they're tools of hope, ready to be given to kids and veterans who need them most. Make your next corporate event truly impactful. Visit fishingforlife.org to schedule your team's volunteer experience today. Together, we can make a difference. One cast, one connection, one life at a time.
It's the Joe and Jim Show. Welcome to Champlin Park High School. You see that the new grandstand, what is this, 4 years now?
Yeah.
We've had the grandstand here, and I think that's just wonderful how they put Champlin Park with the Rebel. You see it right there on your screen, back behind home plate, so that kind of frames the whole scene from our center field camera. Quite a scene here from Champlin Park. The batter is Brady Keene. He lines it to left, a sinking liner, and Greer goes down. No, he didn't make the catch. They're going to say that he trapped it or one-hopped it. And
we may have the best look here.
Yes.
But you could tell he misread the ball. It was struck hard. Good swing, and here.
Hard to tell there in motion with the camera moving. He thought he caught it pretty much. I'm sure that Greer did. Head coach Tome is out he wants to have a chat. Now, I'm going to tell you, honestly, watching it live, I thought he caught it in his shoestrings and his shoe tops. But that's live, and we're here. We're not as close as the umpires are. So as of right now, it's a base hit, and Keene, first pitch swinging, is on with the second hit of the game for Totino-Grace to lead off the top of the third. You can kind of, the trajectory of the ball really makes it look like that it was going to get to his glove before it hit the ground, unless he bobbled it and lost control of it, and the ball went to the ground, and then he scooped it up again. But I didn't see that live, certainly.
That was a well-struck ball.
And here's a bunt attempt. Norby off the mound, one play, underhand toss. Somebody should show the Twins that that's how you do it.
Oh, yes. Whoa.
So that will move Keene over to second. And the batter is the number 9 hitter, Will Franzak, and he gets a nice little sacrifice bunt.
Mm-hmm.
Moves the runner up, runner in scoring position with one down. We go to the top of the order here for Totino-Grace. Of course, I'm giving the Twins a hard time because they lead the league in pitcher errors on throws on the infield. They have 5 of them already this year. Pitcher throws to first base, errors.
Well,
you think that would be the easiest throw that something's in their head. As Kellen Westfall bats. And he takes low, ball 1-0.
Well, they picked up their second straight win today versus the Mets in 10 innings, although they surrendered a 3-0 lead.
Yeah, the bullpen lost it there for him a little bit, but able to win it in the walk-off.
Jacks gave up all 3 of those runs, but, hey, it could be the early part of the season when you're trying to grip the ball on maybe a bunt or what have you.
2 balls and no strikes. Line right back up the middle. Past Norby into center field. Coach Smith will put the stop sign on. And runners in the corners with 1 down with Westfall. 1 for 2 now today, right back up the middle.
Yeah, I like to call that a dancing with the stars, hit up the middle, because as a pitcher, you got to get those feet moving. And that was lit up, hard hit. A good drive, left that thing up around the belt.
So now Rance a chance to knock a run in here in a scoreless top of the third. Struck out looking back in the first, 0 for 1. Norby from the set, just a bit outside, maybe a bit high, ball 1.
Hey, you look at Greer in left field, too. If you get a look at him, that sun is right in his eyes, and the wind is blowing fiercely right at his back.
1-0, there goes the runner. It'll be the cutoff play. Second baseman Sandell steps in front of the bag and nothing doing with Keene at third. So basically a free stolen base there for Westfall, second and third. That opens up first base. Pitch was a ball, 2-0.
Just kind of gives you an idea of what he was battling out there when, in fact, it was Keene who just hit the ball on the screws. Big swing, so sometimes you're looking for it to drive a little deeper, but didn't quite get the break on that.
Norby winds, delivers, line to center. On the run, diving attempt by George is going to sneak by him. That'll score 2. Keene has scored. Here comes Westfall. And it's 2-0 Totino-Grace.
That is so tough to play. I got to think that has got to be almost a hit with that base time.
I think that's a hit, too. It was a sinking line drive. He tried to. Anytime you have to dive to try and make the catch, and if you don't come up with a catch on a dive, it's a base hit.
That ball is doing some funny things in the air, especially if you're in that outfield.
Yeah. Just the second hit of the season for Rance. His first 2 runs batted in. And it comes at a big time. 2-0 Totino-Grace. Runner at first with 1 out. And here's Blake in the air, right side. And that'll drift out of play. 1 strike to Blake, who grounded to short in the first inning.
Well, the Eagles are able to take advantage of the misplay of the ball. Well, many thought maybe it was still a catch, but nonetheless, Keene comes around to score, and as does Westfall.
Hit well again to the right side, and again foul. Blake a little bit behind it. No balls and 2 strikes. Heifert due up next.
You can see George in center field, about 5 yards to the left, or to the right side there of second base.
Just missed low with a fastball, 1-2.
Especially after he just saw Blake hit 2 foul balls to the right side.
Norby checks first. Pretty good lead over there by Rance. In the air to center. Drifting back George and towards right center. Makes the catch. 2 outs.
Nice adjustment. Had just a few strides to secure it. It also just helps when you can get a different angle at that hitter in center field. Poor right fielder here for the next couple of innings.
Yeah, it's a sun field. No doubt about that. I'll leave it up to Heifert. Runner still at first. First pitch swinging. He lines this one down the line. That is inside the line. That's in there for extra bases. Rance heading to third. Back to get it was Vendel. They're going to send the runner. Here comes Rance, and he'll score. 3-0 Totino-Grace. Heifert with a 2-out RBI double.
No doubt, solid double and an RBI for Heifert. Oh, he got around and got the barrel head out on that one. Good hands to the top of the ball there, and you can see that top spin helps. And it just bounces inside that right field line, perfectly placed. And a crooked number here this inning.
Team leading 6th run batted in for Tommy Heifert, the senior first baseman. And that'll bring up Tyler Hand, the catcher. He singled back in the second. Strike 1.
Comes right back with that pitch, looking to see if we have anybody warming up in the bullpen. Not just yet for the Rebels.
4 hits in the inning here. Swing and a miss.
Nice off speed. Took a little bit more off of that than he got that ball to spin and drop on that along with the break.
3 runs in, 2 down. Runner at second is Heifert. 0-2 pitch, low and away. The sweeper, Oakley goes and able to scoop it, and it's 1-2.
Set here, he's been chance here. The pitcher has just left it up high. That time he
breaking ball came on the inside corner, got it on the black of the plate. He snuck it across, and the batter Tyler Hand wanting to make sure, he's asking the home plate umpire, was that across? Was that across? That was a real tight breaking ball that just hit the inner part of the plate, and it's framed nicely by Oakley. And Totino-Grace down here in the top of the 3rd inning, but they strike for 3. 3 hits, 3 runs, 4 hits, no errors, and they left 1 on. 2.5, and it's the Eagles up first here, 3-0.
Yeah, we get a look as the Rebels try to find a way to get some run production and counter. You'll look at the Northwest Suburban Conference here with Blaine jumping out with a 5-0 lead. They defeated Champlin Park in an 8-inning game, gosh, a little over a week ago. And then Totino, second at 4-1, Andover at 3-1, followed by Osseo, the Rebels, Rogers, Spring Lake Park, Anoka. And then Elk River, Maple Grove, that's who Andover will play tomorrow. And oh my gosh, we've got a duck in the pond. The mallard. Is that a mallard and a wood duck, huh?
They're visiting. Good to have them. Come on in.
Water still looks a little cold, but great afternoon. You know, ironic, I was looking at the schedule for Totino. Those first 5-6 games are identical to the schedule they had last year. They had Anoka. They played Anoka to start the season. Then Robbinsdale Armstrong.
Mm-hmm. Probably just flip-flop the sites, huh?
Mm-hmm. I think so, and then Andover.
They played St.
Rogers.
Thomas Academy last year with their 4th game of the year?
They did not. That's the only variance in it.
That was a 12-3 game last Saturday, April 12th. Victory at STA for Totino-Grace. Oakley, the catcher for Champlin Park, 167 hitter, stepping to the plate here for the first time here tonight, and as ball one. Oakley, DeLong on top of the order, George. 3-0 Totino-Grace. Over the top that time. Oakley takes it high, 2-0.
See a couple of different arm slots on the release by the Totino-Grace pitcher.
Goldsberry has retired 6 in a row, entering the bottom of the third. To the plate on the inner half, 2-1.
I like that pitch. You're pitching today. You can really use that wind to kind of guide it and come inside. And I think we'll be able to see more and more of them pitching inside and then allow that breaking pitch to sit on the outside part of the plate.
On the outside part of the plate, 2-2.
Always good to have a plan.
Yeah. Work your plan, plan your work. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The leadoff man, Oakley. Up and away. Tried to get him to chase. Fills the count.
Yep, that time that elbow dropped a bit. And that elevated the pitch. Full count here.
Behind a little bit, protecting the plate. Out to the right side, in towards the... there was some oohs and ahs. I don't know if it hit a car. Like we had the softball game last week. We had that Nissan Maxima. Ultima, that was it. Took a nick out of the... He's going to have to take that one to Abra. Here comes the payoff pitch. 3-2 popped up right side out of play, and it'll stay 3 balls and 2 strikes.
And, of course, myself, in timely fashion, after it hit the Ultima, I said, wow, I have not seen a foul ball hit the truck yet this year. And bam, next pitch.
Your knowledge of the Japanese imports is quite impressive that day. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Swung on and miss. He struck him out. Oakley goes down swinging. Swings over the top. That off-speed breaking ball. And Goldsberry has himself his second strikeout. There's 1 down in the bottom of the 3rd inning.
Yeah, you can use the wind to your advantage here today. And that was an impressive at-bat. Probably 8-9 pitches.
Good battle.
It was. And then he really took a little bit more off that breaking pitch, and that allowed it to drop. And he swung over the top.
Paulie DeLong, the DH. First pitch swinging, goes for a high pitch. Popped up right side, first base dugout, and it'll be out of play.
Reset there. I thought we were going to have a one and done. And he took a swing at that high fastball.
The long 250 hitter. He's DHing for Norby, the pitcher. Norby, I think you mentioned that, pitched a good game against Blaine in that extra inning affair. 1 strike. That one tails away. 1 ball and 1 strike. That was that 3-1 loss Champlin suffered on Tuesday, April 8th.
Yep, they used a total of 3 pitchers in that game. Jeff is my resource.
1 ball, 1 strike, 1 down. Fastball hits that outside corner. 1-2.
Yeah, some good spunk and get up and go on that heater.
Rebels with that sharp look, the all white with the white helmet.
Coming inside low on the breaking pitch, back foot breaking pitch.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Left it up.
Yeah, he did, and it's out to right field, and 1 hop there by Terhart. It'll be a base hit. So DeLong is on at first base. Second hit of the game here for Champlin Park. They got a 1-out base runner. Good piece of hitting there by Paulie DeLong.
Stayed back, kept the hands back, didn't jump. And Pounce kept the hands back, and then exploded the top half and got a screamer out of that. Kind of got after that cheese that he left up around hip high.
So we go to the top of the order. Reese George led off the bottom of the first of the base hit. First hit of the game for the Rebels. Now they just had their second with DeLong on at first base. It's ball one here to Reese George. Base hit earlier here today, improving on that 176 average entering tonight. Bottom of the third, 1-0 pitch. Just missed low, 2-0.
Last night the Rebels held to just 3 hits against Andover. Bittner went 6 complete. Had a no-hitter through 5 for the Huskies.
Sweeper outside, 3 balls and no strikes.
You can tell he tries to almost be too perfect. And with this wind, you got to just kind of throw that ball, trust the technique, and throw that ball. And when he aims, it just kind of loses its direction or command.
3 balls and no strikes. Taking all the way was George, 3-1.
Dead red fastball there, got back to some old school pitching. Got set and released.
Brockton Sandell on deck. 1 out. DeLong gets his lead over at first. Heifert holding with him there. Goldsberry sets, delivers.
Another good pitch.
Oh, got a called strike. And it's 3-2.
He's been consistent with that call.
Yep, right about the letters on the inner part.
Yeah.
And George thought he had picked up ball 4. He had thrown the bat to the dugout. And instead it's all full. 3-2 coming.
Breaking pitch. Oh,
off the outside corner. Missed him outside. And George is on with a base on balls. 2 on, 1 out. Something cooking here for Champlin Park. And Brockton Sandell will try to continue to add ingredients to the soup here. Batting for the second time tonight after popping out to the catcher in the first inning.
Yeah, and for George, 2 for 2 on base wise, a single and then a walk. That's what you like to see from that leadoff hitter.
They'll play in front of the runner, George, over at first base. That's Heifert. Still on the dirt. Sandell takes ball 1.
Looking to see center field also playing the right-handed hitter. Excuse me, Sandell, just to the left side of second.
1 ball, no strikes.
His left, that is.
There is a breaking ball. That one clips the outside corner, 1-1.
You know, they try to take a little bit off of those breaking pitches, but you got to do it and just stay with your technique and finish that follow through. If you don't, you leave it up top.
2 on, just 1 out. Bouncer past Goldsberry, played by the second baseman Rand. Second, they'll get the out there, and that's it. They thought about trying to turn 2, but they'll get the sure out for sure at first. Runners now at the corners and 2 down. Fielder's choice puts Sandell on at first base.
Little 3-hopper, that third hop really eliminated the opportunity for a double play, but at least, like you said, Jim, got to get that 1, secure the 1.
Sandell at first. DeLong is at third. Second base empty here. Nick Carlson flying to right for the second out in the first inning.
So how many pitches are we going to wait before he steals first, Jim?
Probably on the first one. He's got the oven mitt. Oh, he's not going. First pitch swinging, popped up right side. Terhar on the run, and it hit the top of the fence. And skipped out of play. 1 strike here to Carlson.
I always like to hold the guy at first for a couple of pitches, just because he can be more of a distraction at first and third. Everyone's waiting for him to get down to second. It puts more pressure on the defense. And then if I was coaching on a 2-1 count, first and third, I always had the pitcher throw over.
1 strike.
Stays there.
That is outside, 1-1. I think your train is here, Joe.
Yeah, it did. I heard it arrive.
Taking the last train to Clarksville.
I was hoping for that midnight train to Georgia. It might be warmer.
1 ball, 1 strike. Champlin trying to get on the board, trailing at 3-0. And Sandell dives back in. Goldsberry with 2 down, just 1 out from getting out of this jam. His pitch to the plate, low, 2-1. Oleg Mueller is waiting on deck to try to get a chance here.
Well, the other fact is you got Carlson, one of their top hitters. You want to allow him to swing the bat. Not assuming, of course, that Sandell would get thrown out on second.
Yeah.
On a steal. But
Carlson coming in hitting .438. 2-1 delivery. There goes the runner. It's inside. It's a ball, and no throw will be drawn, and it's 3-1, and now second and third.
Yep. 2-1. They kind of that traditional count, right, in baseball. For hitting runs or stolen bases occasionally. Had always been, well, in the past before analytics. One of the activators. Good job, good steal, and a good job to work the pitcher and force him to kind of look at both first, third, and then home.
Now second and third. Strike, 3-2. Yeah, analytics has changed just so much how you look at things. Everything just appears different now. The way they analyze things, almost overanalyze things, to be honest.
Yeah, very much.
3 balls, 2 strikes.
My analytics says he's got to come inside. That's his pitch.
Right over the plate this time, and a breaking ball and sliced foul.
I don't think he meant to have that much meat out the plate. Maybe starting it out a little bit more towards third and getting that late break, but we'll see what he comes with here.
Big pitch coming up, 3-2 with 2 down.
Work it inside and out. I like to see that fastball in on the hands right here. You got first base open.
We'll see what Goldsberry does. The payoff pitch. Down low, bounce to short. Blake, and he can't come up with it. It's into left field. Here comes the play at home. 2 runs in. Throw down to first. And Carlson is safe there. So that will be 2 runs in. It'll be an E6. And Carlson is safe at first. First error of the game, charged to either team, and it's a 3-2 game.
Yeah, had trouble finding it. I didn't even see it get by him, nor did he feel that ball got by him at short. He went to grab it and was already in left field.
So a couple of unearned runs here have made it 3-2. Runner at first is Carlson. Now Oleg Mueller hitting .312. Grounded to short, lines this one to the right side. That is down the line. Terhar over to play it, trying to leg his way for a double, and he got tagged out. Oleg Mueller trying to stretch it into a double is thrown out at second, and that'll be the end of the inning here for Champlin Park, but they do strike for 2. They get 2 runs. That'll be a single, and then Oleg Mueller out trying to stretch it to a double. They get the 2 runs, couple of hits, the 1 error, and 1 left on. 3 innings. And Champlin Park has chipped away at that lead. It's 3-2 Totino-Grace here on QCTV.
We are Midwest Animal Rescue and Services, aka MARS. We are committed to serving both pet and parent, finding homes for animals that were once lost, left behind, and forgotten, while bringing harmony and enhancing education in our community. We started in 2006 and have a 98% adoption success rate. With the help of our community and people like you, Mars has saved over 21,000 animals. All of our animals live in foster homes as family members. Once they get adopted and go home, they stay home. We have a nonprofit veterinary clinic and dog obedience training services. We are actively supporting both ends of the leash, both people and pets, breaking down barriers and building community. Visit our website, www.midwestanimalrescue.org, to learn more and join our Mars community today.
As we move on to the top of the 4th inning, tighter game here as we play 3. It's 4-3 and 3-2 instead in favor of the Totino-Grace Eagles, and Eagles will send Cognetta, Goldsberry, and Keene 6, 7, and 8 in this 3-2 ball game.
That definitely has a law firm sound to it. Those 3 coming
Cognetta,
in.
Goldsberry, and Keene. If you're injured in an accident, give them a call.
You always want an attorney that is keen. sharp.
So ball one to Cognetta. Hits it well to right field. Vendel to have a look, but it is foul into the evergreens there to the right of the foul pole. Boy, Cognetta cranked that one, but pulled it foul. Just a loud foul ball, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Yeah, can you say turned on that pitch? And that's one of those off-speed pitches that he's leaving up around the belt, and they just about made him pay with a long ball.
Cognetta, the DH, grounded to second in the second inning, 0 for 1 tonight. 1-1 pitch from Norby, low and away, 2-1. Cognetta, 222 hitter coming in with 4 runs batted in. 2-1 pitch. Off the end of the bat, lifted in the air to the left side. Greer is going to have to come in on the run, makes the catch. 1 out.
Yeah, you know, you try to read the speed of the bat. You see it come off, and typically you can get the read on it almost instantaneously, but with the sun looking you right in the eyes and the wind, it takes a while to get that true read. Nice play by Greer in left field.
Goldsberry struck out looking. He's 0 for 1. Takes strike 1. In the air, right side, foul territory. Oleg Mueller will watch that one land on the opposite side of the chain link fence. 0-2.
Eagles last year, 19-8. When they won the state championship, given their 19th win, Class 3A championship versus Matamidi.
But they were 5-7 in the conference. That just kind of shows you how good the Northwest Suburban Conference was. At Totino-Grace finished 5-7 in the conference, and then in 3A they go and win the championship. The 0-2 pitch is a called strike 3 here to Goldsberry. He's down, 2 outs, 4th strikeout for Evan Norby.
This looked like a yak pitch, right? One of those really slow, frozen curveballs that just kind of miss a rhythm, and he got caught looking. Good pitch. 2 up, 2 down. That'll leave it up to Keene. Inside out, goes the other way to right field. He plops it in there in front of Vendel, and Keene is on. Second hit of the game here for the number 8 hitter for Totino-Grace. Single in the 3rd and 1 here in the 4th, and a 2-out base runner. And Will Franzak, the left fielder, batting in the number 9 spot, gets a chance to bat. Sacrifice bunt back in the 3rd inning helps set up that 3-run 3rd. Some might call that a keen swing on that pitch. Or sly. Or, 1 strike here to Franzak. But a good inside out. Got a look at it. Drove it to right. It's a good piece of hitting. And just going with the pitch. Runner goes. Scooped. Oleg Mueller. Nice pick with the vacuum at first. He hoovers that one up and then walks over to first base to retire Franzak. And that's all. Totino-Grace retired. They get a hit. They leave 1. Here as we played 3.5. Bottom of the 4th, Champlin Park back to the plate. And they're down by 1, 3-2. That was a sweet play by Oleg Mueller, rather. If he didn't scoop that up, I'll tell you, that probably would have went close down to the line in right field, and Keene could have scored. Not me, but Keene could have scored and made it around. But a nice play. You get a look at the fans in the stands. And, hey, look at that camera look. All right. Call out there. Looks great. You get a look at everyone in center field. Is that Mark in center field? Staying warm with the hoodie. Yeah, look at that. Good look, good day to have a beard out there, too. As you get a look here at warming up, Totino-Grace, their starting pitcher in Goldsberry. We talked a little bit about that state championship title. You mentioned it at the start of the game. Tommy Heifert, 7-inning pitch in that championship game. Struck out 8, 1 walk, 4 hits. And then 1 hitter, Noah Hill, was 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs, hence the 2-1 win. In the state tournament last year for Totino-Grace, they gave up 1 run. That was to Matamidi in the championship game. They outscored their opponents in the 3A state tournament 8-1. In fact, they gave up only 4 runs in their last 7 games last year. So they really got rolling, and they were playing great baseball
at the end of the season as Caleb Greer leads it off for Champlin Park. Bottom of the fourth, and pulling the string was Goldsberry. Swings and misses. Strike one. Greer, Janisch, and Vendel here for Champlin Park.
Totino lost to Centennial on May 2nd, 5-2. Then they went on to win 15 of their last 16.
Not too shabby. Roller to short. Blake up with it. Toss to first. One out.
Yeah, he wants to avenge that error he had last inning.
Well, I kind of maybe jinxed him a little bit because we did, and the left side of their infield, Keene and Blake had made some nice plays up to that point, and that backhand stab last inning just kind of avoided Blake, and probably 19 out of 20 times he probably comes up with that, or maybe even a higher percentage, and that time it just did not find his glove and ended up knocking in a couple of runs, 2 unearned runs, and made it 3-2 with Janisch swinging and missing at the first offering from Goldsberry. And it's one strike. Janisch 0 for 1, grounded to third in his first at bat. 0-1 on the ground, and that's between the bag and the third baseman Keene down the line. Quickly over there is Franzak to get it. It'll be a base hit with 1 out. Janisch on at first.
Yeah, I think he learned a lesson last time up. He just waited on that pitch, had good balance, kept those hands above the ball, and turned on that pitch to right down the line for a single. So with 1 out, 1 on. See if the Rebels can get that offensive train going again.
Donovan Vendel, the right fielder, fly to left. Tying run at first here with 1 out. First pitch swinging, popped up. Left side of the infield, Blake, the shortstop, back towards the middle. 2 down.
Tough one. Grip and rip on that first pitch. And he started with an off speed. And you always see that time and time again on the off speed. When you drop those hands, you get an extra split second. And if you're dropping those hands on that pitch, you're popping it up just like that. So 2 down.
I'll leave it up to Oakley. Struck out swinging third inning, 0 for 1. Janisch at first, Heifert holding with him. And the Goldsberry pitch, low, ball 1. You can really get a sense, a couple of ways you can sense of the wind. You can take a look at the flag out beyond right field. That's the shared flag between the baseball team and the baseball field and the football field. 1-0. Fastball on the outside corner, painted the black of the paint there. 1-1 there, you see it outside just beyond right field. And then you can also see that back of the jersey of the pitcher Goldsberry. See that thing flapping in the wind. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 down. Outside.
See, that time he opened up that shoulder a little too much and guided it outside. See if he can tighten that up and bring that maybe inside this time.
2 balls, 1 strike. DeLong on deck. Oakley trying to continue the inning. With that runner at first. Bouncer to short. Blake. And that one's under his glove and into left field. And heading to third, there's going to be a play, and he wasn't expecting a throw. And then Coach Tome said, hey, you got to kick it into gear to Janisch. He goes, you got to run, son. And he made his way to third. All of a sudden, he turned on the speed when he was about 2/3 of the way to third base. And that's, again, one that I'm sure Blake is going to say that he should have had.
Got under the garage door. That glove side came in, made that charge, as so many of the shortstops do, and nice plays. But didn't get that glove down low enough, and it made its way into left field.
Josh Henshin is going to run for the catcher at second base. So second and third. That's going to have to go as an error again. So Henshin at second, Janisch at third for DeLong, the number 9 hitter. Chance here for the Eagles to tie it or maybe take the lead here, trailing 3-2. Hit on the ground, Rance over to his right, throws to first, and he got him. Heifert able to keep his foot on the bag and stretch to the outfield side of first base. Another close play at first. And this one called out here with DeLong being retired. Take a look at that replay here. And that is how the inning ends. Close. Very close for Champlin Park here in the bottom of the fourth. No runs, a hit, an error. And they leave a couple on. Played 4, still a 1-run game. Totino-Grace 3 and Champlin Park 2 on QCTV. Already April 16th, this spring sports season. You're 2 weeks in, and it seems like it's halfway over because it almost is. When you look at it here, it goes by in the blink of an eye as we move on to the top of the fifth here. Totino-Grace clinging to a 3-2 advantage. Top of the order for the Eagles with Westfall, Rance, and Blake.
Totino last year, I just can't let go of this record. It kind of floors me. They started their season 0-5. Lost to Anoka.
First pitch swinging Westfall to right center. And tracking it down, making the catch out there is Vendel. 1 out.
Yeah, they lost to Anoka, Robbinsdale, Armstrong, Andover, Rogers, Champlin Park. But then they put together 19 wins of their last 17 games. Unbelievable push.
When they finished, 11-9?
Regular season was
that was
19
Champlin
and
Park,
8.
19-8 for Totino-Grace.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, they lost to Centennial early in May 2nd, and they went on to win 15 of their next 16 following that.
1-0 delivery, 2-0 now. That just shows you, I mean, doesn't matter how you start the season, it's how you finish.
Their lone loss during that big streak was to Chaska.
Pitch is low, 3-0. I think of Andover, the boys hockey team this year, is opening 0-9.
Correct.
And still making the state tournament. 3 balls and no strikes. There's one at the knees taking all the way as Rance. And, of course, Andover and Anoka, they're going to be moving from Section 7 to Section 5 boys hockey, so that'll change things. Rogers is going to shift into Section 6. Here's a bouncer right side. Oleg Mueller will scoop it with that right hand and make the play over at first. 2 outs.
A little movement also in football for some of those schools as well.
Yeah, Andover's making the move up to 6A.
Mm-hmm.
So now Colin Blake, 0 for 2. Fastball, nice delivery there. Good pop by Norby, 1 strike.
But yeah, those dynamics change a lot of different things. And of course, Maple Grove no longer in that Northwest Suburban Conference.
Beginning next year.
year.
Yeah, that'll be weird. That'll be weird. When they formed the Northwest Suburban, one of the original Northwest Suburban Conference teams, when they kind of took North Suburban and they kind of mixed that all up. 1 ball and 2 strikes here to Blake. Swing and a miss. Swung over the top of the breaking ball by Norby. A wonderful top of the 5th inning here for Evan Norby. Retires the top of the order in order. 1, 2, 3 in the top of the 5th. Bottom of the 5th coming up. Still 3-2 Totino-Grace.
Yeah, you know, the one element in that conference was I always thought it was so tough to have Buffalo playing in that Lake Conference.
Yeah.
And that long hike.
And we'll say Michael Albertville's in the Lake Conference as well.
Correct.
But when you consider that Wayzata is basically in St. Michael Albertville's backyard. It's amazing how close those 2 high schools are actually when you take the back roads. It's just geographically, I always thought that St. Michael, Albertville, and Rogers would be a better fit for the Northwest Suburban. And Buffalo, you talk about Buffalo, they went from the Mississippi 8
Yes.
to the Lake Conference. It wasn't like they went from the Mississippi 8 to the Northwest Suburban and then to the Lake Conference.
Right to the frying pan.
Yeah. There you take a look at Champlin Park's upcoming schedule, and like we said, non-conference. How about River Falls, Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Not just a non-conference game, a non-state game.
Yeah. I thought that was an interesting schedule. It's kind of cool. Interesting to see how that evolves at Chanhassen, River Falls, at
East
Centennial.
Grand Forks is a
Yes.
intriguing matchup. The state champs in Class A boys hockey this year.
You're right.
A team that went into the playoffs under 500. Bet you they're in a school the size of East Grand Forks. I bet you there are a bunch of those hockey players that play baseball, so that'll be fun on Friday, April 25th. There you see Totino-Grace as well.
And they make a pitching change. Well, you look at Totino-Grace, they're taking on Blaine, and then Duluth East on the 24th, Maple Grove at Maple Grove on the 26th, and then hosting Centennial on the 29th, and on the 1st versus Grand Rapids.
So the new pitcher is Joe McGeary, the junior. So McGeary, tall, lanky right-hander from the looks here from the press box. And Champlin Park, Reese George, top of their order, bottom of the 5th. And McGeary's first pitch to him. Tries to sneak that breaking ball over on the inside. It stayed inside, ball 1.
Interesting change, but you know what? If you're Totino, you got it. You got the pitching depth. It's good to get a different arm slot.
Well, you know, for Totino-Grace, it's been a busy week. They've played Monday, Tuesday, and now Wednesday, a 6-3 win over Coon Rapids on Monday. They lost to Rogers in that walk-off last night, and then they're playing here today. Bounce to third. Keene gobbles that one up. Toss to first, and George is out. 1 out.
Keene has played well at third this afternoon for Totino. Good glove, good throws, just on his game.
So for Goldsberry, his line, 4 innings pitched, 2 runs, both of them unearned. Gave up 4 hits, struck out 2, and walked 1 in his 4 innings of work. And now McGeary is in relief of him, and he faces Sandell. And starts him out with, I believe, his ball 1. 1-0 pitch. Comes in with a strike, evening up here at 1-1 with Nick Carlson on deck.
See what that does to the hitting lineup for Totino when they come up.
Bounce to third again. Another chance for Keene. This time he's got a charge. Sidearm. He got him. Tell you what, Heiferd's got a good glove over at first as well for Totino-Grace. He has scooped some and have had close plays. And if he doesn't do the stretch and the scoop on several of those, they wouldn't have been as close as they were.
Looks effortless on the scoop.
Yeah, he
Looks
is
like
good at that. Just
gets those long legs on the stretch. Good technique. Keeps that chin down on that short hop.
so a couple of ground outs here to third. 2 up, 2 down. Nick Carlson. Reach on an error his last at bat. He's 0 for 2 tonight. Breaking balls at first pitch from McGeary, and it's a strike in there.
Good spinner. You watch his pitches, at least for those first couple, he's been keeping it no higher than mid-thigh, which has induced a couple of ground balls already.
0-1 outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Oleg Mueller would bat if Carlson can get on. 2 out, nobody on.
Appears McGeary likes that stretch.
Right back up the middle off the mound, and that'll sneak into center field for a base hit.
Nice knock there. I thought that was easily a base hit. Oh, a throw over. Wasn't watching.
Oh, wow. They tried to throw back to first, and that goes to the dugout. So a base hit and then an error. Let's take a look here in the replay. Off the rubber, basically, and into center field. Second baseman Rance couldn't get to it. And then Westfall, I'm not sure.
That was launched from the outfield, from center field.
Oh, he was. Oh, nobody knew.
That's great camera shot.
He was trying to catch Westfall. Carlson turned at first and did not make it, and was really in no hurry to get back to first. I think Westfall thought he could possibly catch him napping, not looking. But the only problem was the first baseman Heifert, he wasn't ready for the throw. He wasn't on the same page as Westfall was as center fielder.
When you look at that throw, that was a strike. I mean, he threw it right on. And I'm surprised it didn't hit Heifert.
Well, lucky neither guy got hit in the head. And only one of them's wearing a helmet. So the batter, Oleg Mueller here, runner at second with a single. Fifth hit of the game here for Champlin Park. Ball one here to Oleg Mueller, who singled his last at bat. He's 1 for 2 tonight.
Nice knock that last time up, but he tried to stretch it into a double. Critical time, critical at bat right here for the Rebels. Tying
run at second. That's Carlson. And a throw down there. Quick throw by hand. Trying to get Carlson. That's twice now. They're trying to get Carlson napping.
I like that throwdown from a lot of moxie. Kind of reverse pop time. Usually that pop time happening, they're trying to throw the runner out running 2 second. But
that's an unrated trait and an unappreciated trait in catchers.
Mm-hmm.
Moxie. This one a couple of hops to second, and it's through Rance and into right field. And that's going to tie the game. Westfall up with it in center, and we are tied at 3. And that'll be another unearned run. That one snuck through Rance at second. A very routine ground ball. Oleg Mueller is safe, and we're tied.
He didn't square up on this ground ball. It's almost like he was trying to catch it coming out of that hole. He just needed to get that footwork over. You know, footwork creates that flow for fielding, and you just
he just got caught on the wrong side. He got caught. He didn't.
He was going to try to take a stab at it with that backhand. One more step, he's in front of it, and then he knocked the ball down, and it prevents the run from scoring.
Oleg Mueller on at first, and the run in the inning continues. The run coming in to score. Caleb Greer bats here for Champlin Park. Brand new ball game, 3-3, bottom of the fifth. Still 2 outs. That's a cross. 0-2 to Greer, who is 0 for 2 in the game tonight. Strikeout and a ground to short.
It was another ground ball induced by the pitcher, McGeary.
That one missed. 1-2 now.
Watching here, let's see what kind of a move he has to first.
McGeary to the plate. Nubber foul. Played somewhat cleanly there by Coach Ryan Tome in his 5th year. Came in the COVID year, and of course, first year as head coach, no season, which was certainly odd.
More time to strategize.
Right. Tied at 3. 1 ball, 2 strikes. McGreary steps off.
See, I want to see what that throw looks over. I'm a base runner. He's a tall drink of water on that rubber, and I just want to see what he moves like. If not, I may steal to get that runner down to second. It's going to take him a while to release the ball.
Oleg Mueller gets his lead. Called strike 3. Got Greer looking, and he's down on strikes. First strikeout of the game here in relief for McGeary. But the damage done. Champlin Park tying the game with a run, a hit, and an error. Here in the bottom of the 5th inning, they leave 1 on. All tied at 3 as we go to the 6th here on QCTV. Looks like a good vantage point here. 3-3 is the score as we're all knotted up. Moving to the Totino half of the 6th inning. 4, 5, and 6, middle of their order. And Tommy Heifert here ready to lead it off against Evan Norby, who's starting his 6th inning of work. And the pitch low, ball 1.
You know, this game to me is trending for extra innings because why? I'll tell you in a second.
1-0. Is it a no to Joe, a Joe to no?
It's just this one is not a need to know, but a nice to know by Joe.
Nice to know.
And
yeah,
so, but what you saw the Twins, they got the extra inning win today.
Nice change there.
And of course, the Wild with that fantastic overtime, getting the game to overtime.
Extra sessions.
And scoring with, 22 seconds left in regulation.
1 ball, 2 strikes, low 2-2.
What a close to the regular season. And they get Flower that opportunity to come out and play goal.
He got the win.
Yeah,
he got
you're
credit
right.
for the win with whatever it is, 547. 2-2. On the outside corner, backdoor breaking ball. Heifert looked at it for called strike 3. 1 out. Norby has 6 strikeouts.
Hey, still throwing an explosive breaking pitch. Nordby drops right down, right on the outside part. He froze him with that pitch. Good looking pitch for Nordby.
He has 1 strikeout, 1 in each of the 6 innings now. Batter is Tyler Hand. First pitch swinging, laced into left center field. As his 2nd hit of the game. And hit number 7-6 for the game here for Totino-Grace and a 1-out base runner.
Man, that was a good swing. He does. He has a clean swing. An easy one, and he roped that one to left field.
And that is hit number 7 for Totino-Grace.
Couldn't tell if Hand is still in there or they're going to run for him.
It's going to be Jackson again. Shea Jackson, who was a courtesy runner for Hand earlier. Cognetta bats here, fouls it away. 1 strike. Cognetta 0 for 2. Ground out and a fly out.
Shea is a baseball name, isn't it? Isn't that a cool name? I like that.
Works for me.
Shea Stadium.
0-1 up high. 1-1.
As the Mets leave town after losing that series to the Twins.
Yeah, how about that? The Twins, with their low payroll, beat the Mets, who have a payroll that's bigger than the GNP of half the countries in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And Twins take 2 out of 3. I mean, that's a feather in their cap, certainly, as it's 2 balls and 1 strike here to Cognetta. We should put tariffs on the Mets. There's one rolling, and that is picked up. Second baseman will go to first. He was thinking about a double play, and then Sandell, after he fumbled the ball, he made the right decision to make sure to go to first to get the out, and he does 2 down.
Well, Sandell did a good job of staying cool and calm. You know, it's the old piece that sometimes when air happens and pressure, anxiety goes up, IQ goes down. And you fire it over the top of first, but he stayed poised and made the play, got an out, which was the key here with 2 outs and a runner at second.
Here's the pitcher hitting in Jack Goldsberry's spot. McGeary, first at bat.
Old school, no gloves.
I like that. Harmon Killebrew style. Goldsberry had struck out twice, both looking. 2 of the 6 strikeouts here for Evan Norby. That one, though, low and away. 2 balls and no strikes.
That makes me feel like I have to lose my man card when I had a Diet Coke with ice coming over. I had to use some gloves to use that in the car, but just kind of getting set for the game.
McGeary has, this is just his 2nd at bat of the season, 2nd plate appearance. He's 0 for 1.
So he's due.
He is due. I'd like to knock one here with a runner at second. That's the go-ahead run. The top of the 6th inning for Totino-Grace. Jackson running for Hand.
This game has a great pace to it. I hope I'm just not cursing it, but a good pace, good flow for those of you who have to get up at 4:15 in the morning.
Who's that? 2 balls and no strikes. Fought off to the right side. Shallow right. Vendel comes in and on the run towards the line makes the catch. McGreary is down, and the Eagles are down in the top of the 6th. No runs, a hit. They leave 1. Bottom of the 6th, all tied at 3.
A little flare that time and a good read in right field. Able to track that thing on this blustery day. Vendel, who was pitching yesterday, stays with it here as dusk falls upon us.
Upcoming broadcast schedule Monday. We'll have boys volleyball. I'll be on that call. Be my first ever boys volleyball game. Have you seen one, Joe? Have you called one yet, Joe?
I read the book.
Read the book.
But no, actually, I went to the Andover one first.
Okay.
Just to kind of, I saw like the first set.
Well, historic
Thompson.
first ever season. Here for boys volleyball in the state of Minnesota, Minnesota State High School League.
Some good action to watch. Steve Thompson's all in. Does a great job with that call across, coming up on Anoka and at Andover on 423 on that day. What happened on that day? There's what you need to know for 423. Hank Aaron hit his very first career home run on 423.
That would have been with the Boston Braves, right?
Mm-hmm, correct.
They had not yet moved to Atlanta. No, Milwaukee Braves.
See, and
they had moved from Boston to Milwaukee by then.
Sweet, wasn't this like an edutainment delivery of the schedule?
Because it was the Boston Braves who the Brooklyn Dodgers were playing when Brooks Robinson made his debut in 1947.
And you see some baseball coming up at the Castle also later in the week. So that's what's coming up here for QCTV. Here's what's coming up and who's coming up for the Rebels in the bottom of the sixth.
I'm looking forward to that
the volleyball
boys volleyball matchup on Monday. Certainly is. This game here, 3-3, nothing decided. Number 3 leading it off, Yanish, low roller to short. Blake comes up with this one, and on the run makes the play. He made that play a man on a mission after a couple of errors here for him, and there he was able to, on the run, make a highlight play for the first out of the inning.
I'm quite certain I would have blown out my ACL for the third time. Watching that play, rockets it in and close. A beautiful play at short.
So with one down, right fielder Vendel. Donovan 0 for 2 today. A couple of flyouts, actually to the left and then a pop out to short.
Great breaking pitch there. You could see Vendel was kind of leaning back on those heels. Oh.
And another one.
That time brought it in a little bit more tight on the inside part and froze him.
No balls and 2 strikes. Oakley on deck. McGreary coming right back at him, swing and a miss. 3-pitch strikeout. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night for Donovan Vendel. And there's 2 down.
Yep. Gave him the same flavor drink on each one of those pitches, a breaking ball.
Second strikeout here for McGreary. Second inning of work here for Joe in relief of Goldsberry. That'll leave it up here to Oakley in the bottom of the 6th in a tie game. At the knees, strike 1.
McGarry looks like he's starting to warm up. Throwing well, kind of in the zone.
Oakley 0 for 2. Did reach on an error back in the 4th inning.
And
hit him.
Yeah, it looks like he's warming up. So, right in the shoulder.
So that'll put Oakley on base for the second time tonight. We'll see if we get a runner. It was Henshin last time.
I tell you, it's coming up right at you. There's nothing you can do.
You just got to tense up and take it.
Either try to turn your back to it or turn a shoulder or something into it when you see that ball.
Try to steer it to a fleshy area. That's the key.
Especially on a cold day.
Try to adjust so it hits a fleshy area, not a bony area. It's probably the key. And for some of us, fleshy area is also flabby area. This is one in front of the plate. Quick throw over to first. They get the out there. And that's the third out of the inning. I was going to say, everybody was kind of standing there. But it was a kind of a swinging bunt, if you will. And DeLong is retired on a pitch, a 2-3 scoring play. And Champlin Park down in the bottom of the 6th. They do leave 1. We played 6. We move to the 7th. 3-3 is our score.
The world I see is fair and free, where people can travel wherever they please, and children can eat and have shoes on their feet. and not be afraid when they walk on the street. It's not like there has to be rainbows and bunnies. The streets full of people are dancing like dummies. But freedom to live, to learn, and to play, to just be yourself and think your own way. The road I see may sound crazy to you, but hopefully, someday, you'll see it too.
Here we go to the 7th inning. The lights starting to take effect here at Champlin Park High School. And it is the top of the 7th, and Totino-Grace will have 8-9, and then the top of their order, Brady Keene, Will Franzak, and Kellen Westfall. They had a 3-0 lead. They scored 3 runs in the third on 4 hits. 2-run single by Rance, and then a run-scoring double by Heifert with 2 down. But then Champlin Park in the bottom of the third scored a pair.
Keene's had a good day at the plate / evening.
Yeah, 2 for 2 with a run scored. He leads it off here. The sophomore third baseman came in hitting 154, so he has moved that batting average well above 200. Swings and waves at that off-speed delivery, and it's 0-2 to Keene.
Excellent pitch by Nordby. He started that ball a little bit more inside than he usually has.
0-2 delivery, misses inside this time. Didn't get him to swing at that one. It's 1-2. Norby started the game, and he is starting his 7th inning of work. Working from the wind now. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That's interesting. He'd worked from the set.
Yeah.
As far all game, runners on or not runners on.
Exactly.
And now he's gone to the wind here, 2-2. Bouncer to third. Janisch, nice easy hop for him. He's got time, and Keene is out, 1 down.
Throws a strike. Janisch across the diamond to Oleg Mueller. Key to get that first out, and Rebels did that. Their hitter Keene, who's been a battle at the plate tonight.
Franzak, the left fielder, 0 for 2. Squares the bunt, pushes it down the first base line. Norby gets over there, and they make the play. Textbook. Good job by Norby off the mound quickly with Oleg Mueller covering over at first, 2 down.
Probably just got a little too much gusto on that bunt. Carried a little farther down. But
yeah, you'd love to have the pitcher going more towards home than running right at the bag at first, because all that momentum, it's easy for him to get the ball over to the first baseman.
Yeah, they were.
So that one really popped off the bat of Franzak. Will go to the top of the order. Westfall with 2 outs and nobody on.
Must be one of those new bats he's using.
Yes, he's got the high coefficient of restitution. Yeah, called strike there.
Boy, jumping out. Nordby looking like he's in his first inning. Spot on.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
And a note to self, no one is warming up in the bullpen for the Rebels. So the Rebels must plan on winning it in the bottom of the 7th. Mindset predicts outcomes.
Norby steps off. Westfall steps in. Now they're ready to go. Misses outside. Try to get him to fish. 2-2. Norby working really quick. Bouncer foul.
Straight away in that outfield, even with this wind that continues to blow in from left field across the field.
2-2. Fouled off to the right side. Still 2-2, and if you're wondering, and I'm sure you are because I am, Champlin Park will have the top of their order in the bottom of the 7th inning. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2s across the board. In a 3-3 game, did he chase? He didn't go. So he's able to check his swing, did Westfall, and the count is full, 3-2. Should get a good look at it here from this angle.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did. Good check there by Westfall. 3 balls, 2 strikes, and a looper into shallow left. And Totino-Grace extends their top of the 7th inning. 2-out base hit here for Westfall.
Yeah, well, Rance and Blake, they bring some energy and some great swings to the plate here with 2 outs for Totino.
8th hit of the game for Totino-Grace. Tying run is on with 2 down, and Jake Rance. 2-run single in the 3rd. 1 for 3. Fastball's high. Yeah, it's the 7th inning here for Norby. Still got decent pop. But sometimes it's not all about the pop. It's about location and control. 1 ball the count. Runner goes. Oakley, the throw on the third base side, skips into center. Now that go-ahead runs at second base in scoring position on the stolen base by Westfall.
Hey, got right to it, right? Found his way on. Waited a pitch to kind of get a read on Norby on the mound.
And then timeout. Oakley out to talk to the pitcher Norby. Probably just sorting out runner at second, signs, etc. How they want to attack here. Rance now. It's 2 balls and no strikes. Here's the pitch. Miss, 3-0.
But you're right, that throw down from Oakley did miss to the shortstop side of the bag. Otherwise, it would have been a close play at second.
3-0 pitch. That one floats across. Rance pretty much taking all the way, 3-1. Blake on deck if Rance can extend the inning here in a tie game. Top of the 7th inning. Norby to the plate, sweeping breaking ball right at the letters, fills the count 3-2.
Yeah, he threw that same pitch when it was 3-0. Didn't want to just give him a fastball.
Well, if you got confidence with it, if you can get it across, certainly. Here's the payoff with 2 down. And that is low, ball 4, and all the way back to the backstop. And Westfall at second will advance to third. 90 feet away now with 2 outs.
I think it's simple to say he did not have the best grip on that pitch. That ball looked like it was coming out of his hand just as he was at that release. It was.
So runners at the corners. Coach Tome is out of the dugout here. Runners at the corners. That's just the first walk given up by Evan Norby all game long.
That is astounding.
And he struck out 6, 1 in each of the first 6 innings. But the wild pitch on ball 4 got Westfall down to third, and now a key situation here. Again, we're in the top of the 7th. Champlin Park would love to go to the bottom of the 7th, the top of their order, and try and keep this game tied at 3.
Yeah, do you keep the bat in Blake's hand here, or do you try to steal second on that first pitch with runners at first and third?
Well, both Blake and Heifert are both quality hitters.
Yeah, that's it.
Heifert would be waiting behind Blake. Heifert, between Heifert and Blake, he's the only one with a hit here tonight. He had that double that scored a run the 3rd inning in their 3-run 3rd. All the runs here in the game tonight for Totino-Grace scored in the 3rd inning.
That was such a fluke of a pitch, and Nordby's coming out.
Yep.
You wonder if it was
flip-flopping gloves here.
Just something on maybe a finger or whatever. Maybe I don't know if it was a blister thrown in this cold, but that was just an ugly pitch, and that was just the only one you've seen. Everything else has been art-like out there this afternoon for Nordby. As you mentioned, just 1 walk.
So Oleg Mueller will be the new pitcher. The lefty, so he moves from first to pitcher, and then it looks like Tristan Wexeth is over at first. He takes Oleg Mueller's spot over at first base.
After Blake is at Heifert, the left-handed swing coming up next, right? After Blake.
Right, Blake and then Heifert, if Blake can extend the inning. But Norby goes 6 2/3. still responsible for the 2 runners here, but he gave up 3 runs, all earned, 8 hits, struck out 6, and walked 1. Not a bad line for Evan Norby.
No, not
but
at
now
all.
they're going to. This is not a bad play because with Oleg Mueller, different look here against Blake and Heifer. They haven't seen a lefty here today. So they'll get a southpaw. Blake 0 for 3, ground out, fly out, strikeout.
I haven't seen Oleg Mueller throw last year or this year, but he's got an active arm. You can tell he throws well, good strong pitch, good command of that breaking ball as well, at least on these warm-ups on a windy day.
Go ahead run 90 feet away, runners the corners, Rance at first. And Westfall is at third.
Boy, and again, there's so many things you could do with that runner at first, but you gotta let Blake hit.
Pitch swings at the first one. He pops it up in the infield. Everybody converging, and oh my, Carlson makes the catch.
Whoa!
He thought everybody was coming in. He could see in his peripherals that everybody was converging, but Carlson took charge. He makes the catch.
I think he genuflect.
And he did. Oleg Mueller, he was the thinker as he went down to one knee. And Oleg Mueller on one pitch ends the inning here. He gets Blake and ends the rally and keeps this game tied at 3 as we move on to the bottom of the 7th inning. Totino-Grace here in the top of the 7th. 1 hit, and they leave 2 on. And again, the score 3-3 with the Rebels coming up in the bottom of the 7th.
But the top of their lineup here. So McGeary stays in for his 3rd inning of work.
Well, last time we worked was last week on Thursday. We had a 10-inning softball game. And it was significantly colder.
Oh, my, that was cold.
Windier and also drizzlier than it is here tonight.
And didn't I say
and
if
we were on the
Frecken
elements.
gets on base, Anoka has a 95% probability rate to win.
It turned out to be 100%.
It was 100%. That was a nice shot to the gap. But, no adverse weather conditions, at least not the rain, wind in here.
Reese George, Brockton Sandell, and Nick Carlson, 1, 2, and 3. Mentioned the top third of the order here for Champlin Park, so it sets up well for them to try to rally in this game. They were down 3-0, and then chipped away 2 in the 3rd, 1 in the 5th, all unearned here tonight against Totino-Grace. And Joe McGeary starting his 2nd inning of work. Got a strikeout, hit a batter. That one's in tight on George, ball 1. George tonight a single, a walk, and a ground out, 1 for 2 officially. That one missed as George.
I think he foul tipped it. Yep,
he did. He just called it.
And keep in
1
mind,
ball and 1 strike.
the Rebels have been punched out at first a couple of times, or they would have had a couple of other runs as well.
1-1, swing and a miss. McGreary reaching back for a little extra, and it's 1 and 2.
Good toss there. Comes inside.
Reliever working from the set, fouled straight back, and it's 1 and 2. Well, Champlin Park trying to get to 4 and 2, get back above 500 in conference play. Totino-Grace trying to avoid dropping back-to-back games after starting 5-0. Bounce towards Coach Tom. Ooh, nice pick with the left bare hand by the head coach of the Champlin Park Rebels. Ceramic arts teacher here. Remember the time when we had the rain and he used his pottery sponges to dry off the infield? I thought that was genius. Not many baseball coaches have pottery sponges at their leisure and at their disposal to be able to use those for that task. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Breaking ball hit the other way. That real slice foul.
And I'll go old school. Very MacGyverish.
Very much so, yes.
who also graduated from St. Cloud State.
And who knows, what's his name?
Couldn't he?
Dean Anderson?
Yes, that was it. Good one.
3-2, that one back to the screen. I don't know if Coach Tome, if he used baling wire or a paper clip or chewing gum or any of the other stuff that MacGyver used to do.
Or a match.
3 balls and 2 strikes. Long at bat here, George versus McGreary. Here is the delivery on the ground to third. Keene on the dirt. Throw in the dirt, and another pick by Heifert. Holy cow. Check that glove. Has he got that thing plugged in?
Can you just tell, but when you're a third baseman, shortstop, second, throwing to a first baseman like that, you throw with a lot more confidence. And Keene with another good play, but on the other end, that bookend flashing the leather again.
Doing a nice
Beautiful
job with the pick. So with 1 out,
wow.
Here's Brockton Sandell. Reaching a fielder's choice. 0 for 3, takes a strike here.
That scoop and that glove at first, I will say, has probably saved the Eagles at least a couple of runs.
Oh, easily. 0-1. Swing and a miss. 0-2.
Came up and in. And a good pitch to jump ahead here with 1 out.
Swing and a miss. Struck him out. Got him up and away. 2 outs. Third strikeout already here at the inning and 2/3 for Joe McGeary. I'll leave it up to Nick Carlson. He kept that inning alive back in the 5th, a single, then came in around to score on the air. That's the run that tied the game in the 5th here for Champlin Park, and that's where we're at 3-3 as he takes strike 1 here.
Yeah, McGeary looks like an effortless throw, just kind of rears back.
Got a great motion.
Little arm whip.
0-2. I made the prediction. It was 0-1, and I said 0-2, and he goes and throws a strike. He made me look good. Thank you, Joe McGeary. 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 down. Bases are empty.
Good lead drive here by the pitcher, and arm just finishes things well.
Up and away, 1-2.
That time it looked like his elbow dropped just a bit. Kept it up top.
Grounder up the middle. Shortstop Blake behind the bag. Sidearm throw. 3 up, 3 down. Rebels go down quietly here in the bottom of the 7th. And we have bonus baseball here. Extra innings. We played 7. Tied at 3.
Office, and we're collecting donations, both supplies and cash, to support an organization called Hope for Youth. It's an organization we've partnered with for many years to help bring an end to housing insecurity for youth here in the Metro.
Hope for Youth is a nonprofit, and we have been around for only 12, 13 years, but we are here committed to ending youth homelessness. We do that by providing pathways that truly end their experience of being on the streets. This is our 9th year that we are working with the community to raise funds and receive donations. It's a chilly night for us. We do it every November because we want the community to be thinking about what would it be like if I was out in the cold.
I would imagine a lot of the folks who are watching QCTV right now are probably doing so on their couch, in their warm living room, or in their stable housing and home. And when we see
extra innings here tonight from Champlin Park High School, Totino-Grace and Champlin Park. The Eagles and the Rebels all tied at 3. Totino-Grace here as we go to extra innings. 3 runs, 8 hits, 3 errors. So far they've left 6. And for Champlin Park, 3 runs, 5 hits, no errors. And they have also left 6 runners on. And the top of the 8th here for Totino-Grace. Middle of their order, Heifert, Hand, and Cognetta. And Totino had a 3-0 lead. They scored 3 runs at the top of the third. Champlin Park 2 in the bottom of the third, and then the tying run back in the 5th. No team has scored since. Heifert, an RBI double back in that 3-run third, his 6th run batted into the season. 1 for 3 tonight. Left-handed batter here against the lefty Oleg Mueller, and it's fouled. 1 strike. The lefty versus lefty. Pitch to Heifert again on the inside part. Little sneaky curveball. 0-2. Oleg Mueller to the belt. Here's his pitch. That was close. Nice breaking ball there. Oleg Mueller thought he was going to get it. That was a big-time sweeper. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Hand on deck. Fastball, low. 2-2. That time it was a catcher, Oakley, who thought he had a strike. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Leadoff man, Heifert. Missed outside. That was 3-2 pitch, and it's ball 4. So he lost him. And for Oleg Mueller, that is his first walk. Again, Oleg Mueller came in and faced the one man, the final out, got the final out of the 7th inning. Got Blake with runners at first and third. That go-ahead runner 90 feet away. On 1 pitch, he got Blake to pop it up. But here, Heifert draws the walk after Oleg Mueller got ahead of him. So we are going to get a hitter here for Totino-Grace. Tyler Hand. Here against Oleg Mueller. Hand today, couple of hits and a strikeout, 2 for 3. He squares the bunt, puts it down the third base line. It's a good one, and it just did roll foul. Oakley, as soon as that was on the foul side of the line, he swatted it to make sure it was going to stay foul. And it's 1 strike. Look at this. Just a little spin, little right to left spin, and that just spun off the chalk, off the paint. So it's 1 strike here to Hand. Quick toss over to first. We do have a pinch runner over at first base, Drew Zaire, the junior. So Zaire running for Heifert. Keeping an eye on him. He represents the go-ahead run here for Totino-Grace in the top of the 8th inning, extra innings. 1 strike to Hand. That one stays outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. You can see in high school baseball, some of those helmets have also kind of migrated there with the extended ear flap. Protect the cheek. 2-2. Bunt attempt again. This is down to the pitcher, Oleg Mueller. Quick toss to first. Got the job done, though. That gets Zaire over to second base. Sacrifice bunt from Tyler Hand. 1 out here in the inning for DeMarco Cognetta.
A little bit of a line out there as
a line for what? You went to the concession stand?
Yes.
Okay.
These cold days, I kind of have the bladder of a thimble, and
okay.
We're all clean now.
Thanks for sharing. So there's a pitch here to Cognetta, and it's a ball, 1-0. Cognetta here tonight, 0 for 3. Couple of ground outs to second.
Lefty versus lefty. Couple of southpaws getting at it.
Second lefty versus lefty of the inning. That go-ahead run, and Zaire, the pinch runner, is at second base. 2 balls and no strikes to Cognetta.
And then this just in, I discovered that Champlin Park girls softball team picked up a 12-0 win over Totino today. Totino-Grace, rather.
2 balls and no strikes. And that is low and away. 3-0. Of course, it was known as Fridley-Grace until Mr. Totino gave the money to help out the high school. It's been Totino-Grace ever since. 3 balls, no strikes. Missed outside. It's a 4-pitch walk, 2 on, 1 out, first and second. Cognetta down to first.
Tough
pitcher
loss.
McGeary flied to right in his only at bat here, just his second at bat in plate appearance of the season. And Oakley will call time here. The catcher for Champlin Park. He'll go out to chat with Oleg Mueller. So first and second, Totino-Grace trying to reclaim the lead. You see the bullpen, no activity.
Rolling the dice right here are the Rebels.
McGreary swing and a miss.
Trying to watch that ball come out of the hand. Hogan Mueller.
This is his first full inning of relief. Sets, pitches, foul back. 0-2 to McGreary.
Yeah, Oleg Mueller had an abbreviated visit, 1 pitch and done to end that 7th.
Yeah, got out of a jam. Comes to the plate 0-2, again fouled to the right. Out of play again. Stays no balls and 2 strikes. Center fielder playing relatively shallow. Straight away, too, and a swing and a miss. Reaching for it, McGreary. Sounded like it hit the bat and then into the glove of Oakley. Regardless, it's a strikeout and 2 down.
Yeah, that was kind of a hack that he took. Nice pitch to Oleg Mueller, but you can see him lunge for this and just would like to probably have that back. But nonetheless, great pitch. 2 down.
First strikeout here for Oleg Mueller, and with 2 outs, Brady Keene. That go-ahead run still in scoring position. Low and in. Keene dances out of the way of it a bit. 1 ball the count. Keene, a couple of hits, a run scored. He's 2 for 3 tonight.
He has seen the ball well at each at bat.
Base hit could get him the lead. Fastball outside corner of the plate. 1-2, or excuse me, 1-1.
Let's see if he gets that pitch again, and he drives it to right, or if he's going to come back in with a back foot breaking pitch here.
1 ball, 1 strike. Well, again, this time he did not chase. Let it go. 2-1. Temperature has dropped as the sun has gone down here tonight. Wednesday night baseball on QCTV. 2 balls, 1 strike called a strike, and it's 2-2. Joe Rulin, I'm Jim Erickson. Last 2 games Joe and I have worked have gone extra innings. Softball last week, and now this one here.
The previous game here at Champlin Park almost went to extra innings.
Yeah, you might as well book it. 2-2. Again outside. That's where the catcher Oakley wanted it, but not quite that far outside. And the count is full, 3-2.
Runners off with the pitch.
2 outs, 2 on, and a payoff pitch coming. Long set here for Oleg Mueller. To the plate, inside, ball 4, bases loaded. Keene to first, Cognetta to second. And Zaire, who's running for Heifert, is at third base. That's 3 walks here in this inning. And he's walked the bases loaded for Will Franzak. 0 for 3. He's grounded the pitcher twice, although 1 was a bunt. And will take low here, ball 1.
Yeah, having some problems locating the strike zone. That one a nice short hop block. Prevented a pass ball.
And again, Oakley out to talk to his pitcher. So Totino-Grace threatening to take the lead here. course, if you're Oleg Mueller in Champlin Park, you're got the solace that, hey, all we need is one out.
Right.
Any base, just get an out, and we're out of it, and we're going to the bottom of the 8th.
Hey, the good news is you have 4 options if you're in the field right now. Knock
One ball,
down.
no strikes. Here's the Oleg Mueller pitch. Miss low and in. 2 balls and no strikes.
I'm going to guess he's going to be holding on to that bat. There's no green light here.
2-0.
And there is.
Hits it to center field, and it's going to be right at the center fielder, George. And he will make the catch. So on 2-0, he had the green light, and Franzek hit it pretty well. But right in the range of George, who makes the catch. So Totino-Grace here in the top of the 8th. They threaten, they do not score. They load the bases with 3 walks, but they leave the bases loaded as we move to the bottom of the 8th. And we're still tied at 3 here at Champlin Park High School.
Well, that's the reason why Joe Vegas does not have a betting line or play the lines. I thought for sure those last 2 pitches looked like he was kind of struggling. And he put a swing on it, hit it solid. Even with their center fielder playing.
Sometimes you roll the dice.
You bet, and George looked like he was playing a little deep, but with that wind still fiercely blowing in from left field, he made the play. Chance now to see if the Rebels can win their first extra inning game of the season. They lost in 8 to Blaine earlier this season. Well, just a couple of weeks ago, maybe.
April 8th.
Oh, man.
Just a little more than a
8
week
days.
ago. That was a week ago yesterday.
And of course, you know what happened on April 8th. Baseball.
Is that when Aaron hit his 715th?
Yeah. See how we just dropped that into a kind of a curation, a content curation?
It was very organic, Joe. It really did. It fit right into the conversation. I love it. So here's Oleg Mueller, Greer, and Janisch for Champlin Park. Still tied. And McGarry is in. And he is starting his 4th inning of work. He came in after 4.
Mm-hmm.
He's pitched the last 3, starting his 4th inning here. Ball 1 to Oleg Mueller. And that's a strike, 1-1 on the outer part of the plate. Oleg Mueller does have a single, but he was thrown out trying to stretch that into a double for the final out of the inning. Let's say he doesn't stretch that or try to stretch that into a double. That inning would have extended and continued. Would have been 1st and 3rd. As it's fouled back, bouncer to the screen. It's 1-2. That was a big play at that point.
That
in the
really
game.
was. That absolutely was.
In
Good
theory, we could still be playing the 3rd inning in the bottom of the 3rd. 1 ball and 2 strikes. McGarry, sidearm delivery, and it's pulled foul. 1-2. You know, those evergreen trees down the right field line are in a perfect spot. Otherwise, I'd be watching the big jumbotron on the other side of the football field. Pitches up and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Those trees are just in the right spot where you can't see what's going on in the jumbotron.
Correct.
Because if you're in a place with the jumbotron, guess what? You're watching it.
Yeah, you're drawn into that.
2 balls, 2 strikes, time.
Now, I know you went golfing in Monticello this past weekend, but have you seen that scoreboard? That's a great scoreboard in Monticello at high school.
I have been there, and I'm pretty sure I've seen, unless they put one in the last
Beautiful,
2 years.
Beautiful digital board.
2-2 on the ground. Blake behind the bag. Another midi stretch there by Heiford, 1 out. Well, it almost seems if you're a big school or even small schools are getting these video boards now.
Absolutely, yep.
And there's almost more that have them that don't have them now, which is quite amazing. So Caleb Greer bats with 1 out and the base is empty. Struck out twice and grounded out 0 for 3.
Looking to see if they make any movement here on the infield.
Outside.
You've seen a little bit here with McGreary missing outside series of times.
McGarry to the plate, inside this time, 2-0.
Trying to correct it with an inside pitch that misses.
You know, the other thing is here, you know, Champlin Park played Tuesday, playing today. They play Friday. Totino-Grace doesn't play again until Tuesday. You know, just how many arms do they have available?
Mm-hmm.
You know, after Totino playing Monday, Tuesday, now Wednesday. They do now that know they don't play again until Tuesday. So how many guys can they throw? Who do they have available? 3 balls and no strikes to Greer. And it's ball 4. So Greer is a 1-out base runner. In the bottom of the 8th in a tie game, Janisch, 1 for 3 tonight, steps to the plate. Home plate umpire, replenishment of balls.
The Rebels get some movement in the bullpen. All I can tell you, it's a right-handed toss.
That's enough information for now.
That's plenty, Joe.
So Janisch steps in. McGarry to the belt, to the plate, strike 1.
They try to see, I don't know, maybe try to get an extra step with the longer, taller pitcher in here. McGarry for Totino.
1 strike on the ground, and a diving attempt by Keene. Knocked it down, tipped it over to Blake, but everybody's safe. That'll be an infield hit for Janisch. With Greer stopping at second, first and second, 1 out, and Donovan Vendel will bat here. You take a look at that play. Great job by Keene. He got to it, off the glove to the shortstop.
I don't think there's been a ball that's gotten by him all day. He's knocked everything down. Great glove work.
Going to get a pinch runner at first base for Janisch, and that's Alex Fino. So Fino running over at first for Janisch. Putting a little more speed out on the base paths, although, you know, the one that matters is the runner at second, but it also gives you that option at first so that doesn't turn in a situation where you can nab him. Maybe they're going to run. They're going to do this. They're going to steal third, and then they put Fino into the game so they can steal second and get 2 runners in scoring position, that's a stolen base for Greer.
He was halfway down towards third, and he jumped that. Got that one on the pitcher. McGarry didn't bother looking him back. Plus, with that long throw in motion, got him a couple more steps. Runner did not advance from first to second.
Nope, that's by design. They want to go with the first and third. Second base empty. So now you can put the play on. Let's see what coverage Totino-Grace will dial up here with 2 down. They bring the infield in. And the first pitch to Vendel is outside, ball 1. Vendel's 0 for 3. Still looking for that first hit of the season. Boy, it'd be ideal here for the Rebels for him to get it here.
Infield in on the grass.
The pitch. Swung on and missed and a high fastball. 1 ball and 1 strike. So runners the corners, winning run 90 feet away. With 1 out, 1 ball, 2 strikes here in the bottom of the 8th in a tie game. McGarry sets. There goes the runner. And defensive indifference on that one.
Yeah.
And was going to do nothing with it. And it's Fino, the pinch runner, getting, in high school, you still get credit for a stolen base on that. Second and third. 2-2.
Minute they brought that infield in on the grass, you knew they were going to allow that run just to get down there, the base runner.
2 balls and 2 strikes. On the ground and through the hole and into left field, past Keene and into left field, and Champlin Park walks off Totino-Grace. They were walked off last night against Rogers, and a heartbreak here tonight for them again as Champlin Park rallies from being down 3-0, and they get a walk-off. Donovan Vendel. Gonna have to look at that replay. I'm leaning towards error on the official scoring call on that one.
That'll be an error, even though he's playing extremely in.
That's tough. He's close, but That's one that I think Keene, as good of a fielder as he is, he'd say he would come up with that, needs to come up with that, and more often than not would not come up with that. But it's Vendel who puts that in play, and that's what you asked for right there. You asked for the defense to make a play, put it in play with runners at second and third. And in this case, Totino-Grace did not come up with the ball. And coming across the score from the third inning, Caleb Greer to make the final here 4-3. Another exciting baseball game here at Champlin Park. That's all we do, and we broadcast high school ball. Here we have comeback games for Champlin Park and the games that we broadcast here at Champlin Park High School, and games that come down to the very end.
Hey, what a great thing. And with Keene, you mentioned, he's been making spectacular plays all night. That one on that big hop, maybe whatever transpired. But, hey, give kudos to Rebels. They came back, put guys on, moved them around, and stuck with it. And he got some clutch plays here late in the game. So congrats to the Rebels for the win.
Yep. For Champlin Park, 4 runs, 6 hits, no errors. They leave 8. And for Totino-Grace, 3 runs, 8 hits, 4 errors. They left 9. Of course, those numbers, as always, are unofficial here from the broadcast booth. Joe McGurry ends up taking the loss, and Oleg Mueller ends up getting the victory. Kellen Oleg Mueller in relief gets the win here tonight for Champlin Park. Rebels get their 4th win of the season. They go to 4-2. They improve to 3-2 in the conference. Again, they're at Chanhassen on Friday. Totino-Grace back-to-back heartbreaking losses. A walk-off loss in 7 innings yesterday at Rogers, and then in 8 innings they lose it here to Champlin Park. They're now 5-2, 4-2 in the Northwest Suburban. Their next game on Tuesday, they host Osseo. For our fine crew, doing a great job again here tonight out in the field and in the truck with Joe Ruland up here in the booth as well. I'm Jim Erickson. Again, the final here this evening in 8 innings. Champlin Park coming from behind, 4 unanswered runs. They win it in 8, 4-3 over Totino-Grace. Good night, everybody.